Jimmy should not be the main character. To be perfectly clear, my argument is not that the storytelling is weak, but rather my grievance about the main character, Jimmy. If you have not played or watched any videos on mouthwashing, you should probably do so first. Some context, these characters are on a delivery ship delivering mouthwash. We see the game mostly through Jimmy's eyes, which affects our perspective of the story. Other characters contrast Jimmy and show how terrible he is, and he single-handedly kills everybody on the ship, except for the previous Captain Curly. Jimmy also sexually assaults Anya, the only female crew member on the ship, and she becomes pregnant with his child. When she confides this in Curly, the previous captain, he goes and talks to Jimmy, and then this leads to Jimmy crashing the ship. While everyone else survives unharmed, Curly is left unable to speak or move. Now, Jimmy does not have a clear reason for why he crashed the ship. SweetisOnline posits that Jimmy's motivation comes from his need to be positively perceived. But why would he care about his reputation if he died? Also, crashing the ship does nothing, assuming they all survive, to change the other people's perspectives. Maybe you can argue that he tried to kill everyone to avoid consequences, but why crash the ship when Curly wasn't gonna do anything? The thing is, Jimmy's not supposed to have a completely logical explanation for his actions, other than he wants to be in control. He wants to crash the ship, he's gonna do it. He wants to become captain by any means, and of course this applies to how he views Anya as well. The game is really about Anya, her story, and how Jimmy's actions along with Curly's inaction lead to destruction. At one point, she tells Curly about a dead pixel on the nighttime screen. This symbolizes how the fear of Jimmy is always in the back of her mind. The only time Anya truly asserts herself is when she commits suicide. She says that she's gonna take care of it, throwing Jimmy and Curly's favorite saying back in their face. And even then, Jimmy feels no remorse as he grabs the gun that's next to her and heads off to shoot Swansea. Now I must ask, would Jimmy not be more compelling if he felt something? It would never justify his actions, but it would show that people, not monsters, are capable of these things. Maybe the developers didn't want there to be Jimmy apologists. Still, if Anya acted as a dead pixel in the back of Jimmy's mind, it would not redeem him, but it would add more emotional weight to the story. Now, suppose that Curly is the main character, not Jimmy. First, we would sidestep a lot of the problems with Jimmy's unclear motivations and Anya's presence. Curly's dissatisfaction with his position explains his complacency. He stands idly while Jimmy crashes the ship because God forbid there's a problem, he has to deal with it. And now his inaction has fucked up his entire crew. And by allowing Jimmy to assume control, he has effectively robbed Anya of her voice. Curly's experience mirrors that of Anya's, and now he's got to watch Jimmy take control, powerless to do anything to stop it. Think about if Jimmy was a side character and we saw his actions only from Curly's perspective. We'd feel so much more compelled to act. In fact, by seeing this unfold in Curly's eyes, we are suffering Curly's fate. We are feeling the repercussions of our inaction, and it adds to the guilt that we feel. According to Limus, when Jimmy picks up the gun, Curly laughs, which Limus interprets to be him recognizing his folly. As players, we would feel a sense of dread, as Curly is irreversibly doomed. I mean, he watches all that shit go down, and then as the ultimate punishment, he's sent into fucking outer space, and basically can never die and never escape from this nightmare. I mean, is that not compelling? What a horrifying and tragic story where Curly is never glorified, but he still remains a compelling character that we sympathize for. Additionally, Curly's relationship with Anya gives her way more space in the narrative. When Anya mentions the dead pixel to Curly and he says he's focused on the bigger picture, it's alluding to the fact that he's ignoring Jimmy's behavior. He likes the illusion of perfection. But just like the pixel, Jimmy is there, and the perfection is just an illusion. Then Anya asks him how many days left are on the expedition, to which Curly responds 8 months. Dude, Anya is pregnant with Jimmy's child, but Curly has no context of this, so it goes right over his head. When she asks why the medical room and cockpit are locked, Curly responds that it's a safety precaution, but it's not her safety that they're precarious about. They care more about the transportation of cargo and making sure nobody gets high off of the medical room supply than the safety of the crew. I mean, Curly responds completely naturally, but the subtext of this conversation is haunting. And through Curly, we are the ones who said those things, adding to the aforementioned guilt and inserting Anya more in the narrative. I mean, look at it this way. Why would you choose to make the main character an asshole, but refuse to give us insight on why? The whole concept of having the antagonist and the protagonist be the same character is to offer that new perspective. The story through Curly's eyes is much more compelling, would have more focus on the horror of inaction, and less focus on the inner workings of Jimmy's power-hungry delusions. So that's why I think Curly would make a better protagonist, but let me know what you guys think below. Alright, bye.